Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Blake, and this is a Blackwood Decor channel, and this is going to be the debrief on our end table build part 2. So this end table, we utilized the templates that we made from the first time we built one of these tables, and I figure between the legs and the tabletop, we probably saved an hour and a half to 2 hours utilizing these templates. Because we didn't have to go through and measure everything out and then cut out those legs and refine those so that way they're perfect. That way we could utilize those as the template to make the other legs. So huge time saver creating templates if you're going to be recreating projects. Yeah, it really proved it to me that like saved myself 2 hours that I could have, that obviously we used that 2 hours to put it in another design aspect, which we'll talk about here in a second. So material. We utilized walnut for this one. I kind of wanted to see the difference of how this table would look between a light wood and a dark wood, and I absolutely love the way that the walnut turned out. But one thing I did notice as I was building this is I was getting a lot more tear out with the walnut. Utilizing the router, I was really having to pay attention to the grain orientation, and I think next time if I was to use walnut, I would refine those edges, the ends of the pieces of wood where you really get that bad tear out. I would refine that by hand a lot more. I would either use a handsaw or a jigsaw, just get it closer to that line so that way as that router is exiting the piece of wood, there's not as much material to grab and get that tear out, and then you have to fix all that. So in our first project, we put that 15-degree chamfer at the top around the tabletop. And I hope that you realized in that project how much difference it makes to go that extra step, how much it transforms the piece, and it subconsciously sends your eyes from the tabletop into the centerpiece of that project, which was the legs. This one, we added another design aspect, and it's kind of in the legs, the design aspect that we added. So if you look at this angle right here, that is very similar to the chamfer, the 15-degree chamfer that we put on the tabletop. And then if you look at that right there, if you can see it, that's very, very similar to the bevel that we put in the top of the table. So I think adding that bevel really brings the piece together. I think it makes it look a lot more mid-century modern, and your eyes explore the top, and then they flow over the sides into that 15-degree chamfer, and you're kind of like, oh wait, there's more, and it sends them into the legs, which have similar angles to the tabletop. I just think it brought the piece together wholeheartedly, and I really like the way that it turned out. So we utilized another tool on this build, and it's not a tool that you had to go to the hardware store to buy. We utilized a router sled, which you can make in your own shop. It's just made out of a super, super simple project. You can find a lot of great YouTube videos teaching you how to make a router sled, but essentially all it is just 2 flat parallel pieces of board and then 1 board running across the top, and that is your flat reference, and you drop your bit down, and whatever is underneath of it, it's going to cut that away and create a perfectly flat surface. I use them all the time for cutting boards, flattening out pieces of wood, slabs of wood. Super versatile, and I would recommend you making one in your shop. We used our router sled on this one to get the center of that table that wasn't cut, get that down to the depth of the bevel that we had created around the rim of the interior of our tabletop. So go make a router sled. I think that you'll find a bunch of uses in your shop for one. And then the last thing I want to talk about is sandpaper. I've heard it before that there's a difference in sandpaper, but I didn't realize how big of a difference there could be in sandpaper. I picked up this 3M extract. Holy cow. This must have saved me an hour's worth of sanding working on this project. It's kind of got like the mesh backing, so the dust collection is absolutely incredible. Even just using the bag on my sander, not even my dust extraction system, my dust collection system. This stuff is incredible. This is just the sample pack, so there's 2 of each one of the grits in there. I was absolutely blown away. I normally use the Diablo from Home Depot, and it works well, but I mean, when I utilize the router to clean up and get the depth down to the depth of the bevel on the tabletop, I put quite a few deep grooves in there, and this stuff made quick work of cleaning those grooves up, getting everything perfectly flat. Dust collection's awesome. Once I'm done with all of that Diablo sandpaper, I will not go back. I will use this 100% of the time. I'll put a link in the description below. Get the sample pack, test it out for yourself. Huge time saver for the money spent, and I think it was like $7 or $8 for the sampler pack. And I only used one of each of the grits, and they're still good. I'll use them on another project. So, sandpaper, go get yourself some. And that's all I've got on my list. That's all I've got to talk about on this project. I hope you go out and you create one of these. If you do use the free plans that are on my website, I would love some feedback. I want to know how easy those are for you to utilize, if there's things that I could do to improve them. So either email me, drop me a comment on this video, and give me some feedback as to how I could make those better for you. And when you build one of these, or the first one, send me some pictures, send me an email. I would love to see your work. And my name is Blake. This is Blackwood Decor's debrief on the end table. I will see you on the next video.